Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. I'm super excited. Today's been a great day in the market, let me say that. But let me go ahead and give my disclaimer, y'all. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth, and the stock market is just one of those avenues. And this video is for educational purposes only. With that being said, y'all, let's get started. It has been an interesting day in the market. We had a nice sell off, let me say that. And the great thing about the market is you can make money in either direction, right? It's just making sure you're on the right side of that. But this is the VIX. We're looking at the VIX, and we marked that VIX was an inside day today, and we marked the levels this morning, just showing where it could go to. And for the VIX to hit 1692, that means the SPY must be going down or is down, and that is exactly what happened today. So I want to look at the SPY for a moment, just so that I can, I noticed that the way that my charts are set up, I have the high and the low of the day, and you see that they are so close to one another, and that's a sign that the SPY is trading in a very tight range. That means the high was 523.70 and the low was 522.65, and we can see that here. So when we stay in a range like that majority of the time, it tells me that something's not right. So that when I saw the sell-off, it wasn't surprising for me based on the pattern that I had seen with the SPY trading in a range, and that's exactly what happened. So if you notice that, we marked pre-market levels and it broke out of the gathering spot before the market opened, we had ran up, right? So as soon as the bell opened, we made a 523.70, and then we made a 523.87. So we stayed in that 523 range for a good while. And normally, okay, you want to ask, are we going to go up higher or are we going to break down lower? But based on what I was seeing, I just I didn't trust the move up the way that it moved up, pre-market, only to stay at that level. I anticipated the sell-off, let me say that. I didn't anticipate the big sell-off that we had, but I anticipated some type of sell down, and it looks as if the Dow was down 500 points. So that itself, yeah, that's interesting in my opinion. So let's go to Tesla as always. That's my good trader, my good place of trading. Let me say that. Tesla, looking at it on the 5-minute chart, because that's where I make my entries. Tesla gave me an entry this morning, right? And I was in the 175 calls, and I'm grateful that I was, because those paid off well today, and I'm grateful at that. So I entered the 175 calls. My MACD crossed here. I waited until it got past this place, and that's where I entered. And my MACD, my 5 and 50 is here. My MACD is here, right? Let me make sure I get it right. So once I entered, I stayed in, and it was a really good trade until the 177 area, and the MACD crossed, which was okay, I'm out. Normally when I see that high of that white right here, I'm out. But that's just how I trade. We have to do what works best for you is all that matters, right? So Tesla was a really good trade. Once it hit that high today, I saw that double top on the 30-minute chart. I used the body of the candles. That's just me. And it did not. I didn't trust the move up. We went from 168, 169 range, 170, up to 177. I was like, okay, that's another signal. Something is definitely off. And in my way of thinking, Tesla should be down, right? We had some issues with deliveries. We had some other issues. There's a lot going on with Tesla. They try to come out with this news to make it, hype it back up or make it good. But in my opinion, Tesla was giving us signals that something was not right. So I didn't trust this move, and I thought that it was going down, and it did. So I took this to the upside, and then I bought the 170 puts to the downside, and I'm grateful at that. So today was a really good day with Tesla and the SPY. And again, this has been an interesting day. AMD was the next one that I just thought was really interesting, because when I looked at AMD pre-market, I thought that it could have very well came up to test this 186.38. I really thought it was going to come up and test it based on how it was running pre-market, right? It broke out of our gathering spot. It made the high 183.60. Well, soon as the market opened, it seemed like AMD just declined. I mean, the 5 and 50 crossed, and this is the 30-minute. The 5 and 50 crossed, only to create another, a gathering spot here. We broke out of that and just came all the way down. I mean, it went from a 183.60 all the way down to a 165. 164, yeah, 165. That's interesting, for AMD, considering the stock normally trades, let's see, I missed that, $8.50 a day. So yeah, that was an interesting move. And looking at it on the daily chart, we are down. Now the issue is, can we come down and test this 140, 181? Because I don't see a lot of support here on the daily chart. That is very, very interesting. So I would say, always say, trade carefully. No matter what chart, what stock you trade, make sure you trade carefully. NVDA, it actually did kind of like the same thing the SPY did. This is a 2-minute chart. I'm gonna look at it on the 5-minute. It kind of did the same thing the SPY did. It traded within this range, not a big range, but when it broke out, it broke down, and that's exactly how, to me, this looks like the SPY. And again, if you were able to get into the downside, that was some really, really good puts. Let me say that. That means you believe the market is going to go down, so you make money on the way down. Ride the 5 is what Miss Willeen like to say, right? Ride the 5. Make sure you stay under the 5 EMA if you're using the 5 EMA. Let me rephrase that. If you're using the 5 EMA, ride the 5. Most stocks respect the 5. I say that often, just like NVIDIA did here. Under the 5 EMA, we would be to the downside of the trade, and SPY is the exact same way. It is under the 5 EMA to the downside, so we will be in puts on this trade. And Tesla is the exact same. Well, Tesla was a little bit interesting. So it came under the 5 EMA, but we had some trick places here towards the end, which it normally runs up in the afternoon. So sometimes, let me go ahead and say that, because nothing's guaranteed in the market. I need to say that again. Nothing is guaranteed in the market. So what did I learn from the market today? Let me say, I do not trust just because we have this nice run up in pre-market, or just even with Tesla. It wasn't pre-market with Tesla. Even if we just have this nice run up, most people would think that it could continue on, and it's probably going to continue on. But I always go and I look at the ATR for the day, which is the average true range of the stock, meaning how far does this stock normally run on a daily basis. And with Tesla running $7 and some odd cents on a daily basis, we had already moved from 168.01 all the way up to 177. So I start looking for puts in this area, because we are very close, right at the ATR. So am I going to jump into puts just because of that? No, I wait on signals and confirmations. This MACD crossing to the downside, my 5 and 50 crossing, I'm under the 5 EMA, I'm making lower lows. Those are things that I look for to confirm my interest for my trades, right? That's something to think about. I wanted to go back to the SPY for just one moment. And I do apologize for just jumping and bouncing. It's just been an interesting day. On the SPY, I want to go to the daily chart, because I had that marked earlier. SPY it was under the 5 EMA. Now we are under the 20 EMA. Are we going to continue to the downside and find support at this ATR trailing stop, which is at the 507.17, or are we going to continue down to the 505.55? That's something to think about. So if you trade the SPY, definitely be mindful of that. But we also broke out of a gathering spot. If you see this here, the SPY had been consolidating, or what I consider the gathering spot. We've been there for a while, since, let's see, 321. We've been more or less going sideways, or staying kind of like in this area. We made that high of 525.84, and we never got higher than that new 52-week high. We stayed under that amount, that total. And when it dropped out of this, it wasn't surprising. I kept this area marked on my chart, so when I saw it, I was like, we've broken through a level of support. So I anticipated the downside, because we broke through that. What I didn't anticipate is for it to continue down as much as it did. So that was let me say shocking. But again, anything is possible in the market, y'all. It's really important that we're able to use the different time frames, the daily chart, the 4 hour chart, the 1 hour chart, the 30-minute chart, 5 minute. And if you use the 1 minute or the 2 minute or whatever time frame, let me go ahead and say that whatever time frame you use, it's important to make sure you use all of that so that you can get a clear picture of your, it's like putting your puzzle together. You need to go ahead and look at all of the pieces so that you can get a clearer picture. And again, nothing is guaranteed. I always say trade what you see, but now, tomorrow is going to be interesting. Let me go ahead and say this. We've had a really, really big sell off today. Really big sell off. And we get information, I think, with the jobs in the morning. So, does that mean we're going to bounce and go back to the upside? I don't know. Being that we have sold off a lot today, I always say trade what you see and be prepared for anything, because in the market, anything is possible. However, as long as you're on the right side of the trade, that's all that matters, up or down. So, y'all, I'm super, super excited. Today has been an awesome, awesome day in the market. I've learned a lot. I'm grateful. Let me say that. I am grateful. Today's been a really, really good day. And I want to say thank you so much for just watching, taking the time to listen and learn with me. I always say we learn and we grow together. And yeah, thank you. And I always like to leave you with this, right? Have an awesome day today, y'all, and be a blessing to others. That's what it's all about, being a blessing to others. Until next time.